Two friends. Same starting day at their first job. Same salary. Same city. Same expenses. Friend 1 makes a careful decision, I'm not taking risks. I'm just going to save. Friend 2 takes a different path, I'm going to invest. Market up, market down, doesn't matter. 20 years later, they meet again. Friend 1, who only saved, has $180,000. Friend 2, who invested, has over $720,000. Same income. Same time. Same discipline. The only difference was one decision. And that decision is what we're breaking down today, because this isn't just a finance topic. It's a fork in the road that decides the next 3 decades of your life. Setup: why this matters right now. In 2026, saving has quietly become a trap. We were all taught the same thing growing up: save your money, put it in the bank, stay safe. That advice made sense once. But in today's economic environment, that exact same advice is slowly making you poorer, without you even noticing. Why? Because the gap between inflation and interest rates has widened so much that traditional saving no longer builds wealth, it just tries to preserve it. And even that attempt is failing. On the other side, investing still gets treated like it's risky, gambling, or a rich person's game. Both of these perceptions are wrong. And the price of that confusion is being paid by your retirement, quietly, in the background, while you're not looking. So let's bring some clarity to this. Step by step. How saving actually works. First, let's understand the real mechanics of saving. When you put money into a savings account or a CD, the bank pays you interest, let's say 4 to 5% a year. Sounds good on the surface. My money is growing. But here's something the bank will never say out loud: real return. Real return means your interest rate, minus inflation. If your savings account is paying you 4.5%, and inflation is running at 3.5%, your real return is barely 1%. On $10,000, that's $100 of actual growth in purchasing power over an entire year. That's not wealth building, that's treading water while pretending to swim. And here's the part that stings even more: savings accounts don't compound aggressively. The bank isn't putting your money to work in a high-growth engine. It's lending it out, taking the spread, and handing you the leftovers. Now let's look at investing. When you invest, in index funds, stocks, retirement accounts, your money isn't just sitting there. It's buying ownership in businesses that are actively trying to grow, innovate, and generate profit. Historically, the U.S. stock market has returned around 9 to 10% annually over long stretches, even accounting for crashes, recessions, and chaos. That gap, 9 to 10% versus 1% real return, doesn't sound dramatic on a single year's timeline. But stretch it across 20 or 30 years, and it becomes the difference between retiring comfortably and running out of money at 75. This is where compounding stops being a math lesson and starts being a life sentence, for better or worse. What nobody points out. Here's the uncomfortable math nobody puts in the brochure. $10,000 sitting in a savings account at 4.5% for 30 years becomes roughly $38,000. $10,000 invested in a diversified index fund at a historical 9% average for 30 years becomes roughly $132,000. Same starting amount. Same 30 years. Almost 3.5 times the outcome, just from where the money lived. But here's the part that really deserves attention: most people don't fail at investing because of bad luck. They fail because of timing panic. Markets drop. Someone sees their $50,000 portfolio become $38,000 in a matter of weeks. They panic. They sell. They lock in the loss, permanently, right before the market recovers, which it almost always eventually does. The people who actually build wealth through investing aren't smarter than everyone else. They're just better at doing nothing during chaos. That's the entire secret. And it's deeply unglamorous. Meanwhile, the safe saver never experiences that panic, because there's nothing to panic about. Their money isn't losing 20% in a month. It's losing value at 2 to 3% a year, silently, invisibly, with no dramatic headline attached to it. One loss is loud and scary. The other loss is quiet and permanent. Only one of them gets talked about. Hype versus reality. Now here's where the noise really distorts things. Social media loves to show you day traders, meme stock winners, crypto millionaires who turned $2,000 into $200,000 in 6 months. These stories exist. They're also statistically irrelevant to how wealth actually gets built for the overwhelming majority of people. The reality of successful long-term investing looks almost aggressively boring: automatic contributions to a retirement account, a diversified index fund, decades of not checking the balance every day, and letting time do what time does. There's no dramatic story there. No thumbnail-worthy moment. Just a slow, steady curve that only becomes visible after 15 or 20 years, which is exactly why almost nobody shows it to you. And on the saving side, there's a different kind of hype, the illusion of safety. People feel responsible, disciplined, even smart for keeping everything in cash. It feels like the adult decision. But feeling safe and being financially secure are two completely different things. One is an emotion. The other is math. And math doesn't care how safe something feels. Zoom out far enough, and this stops being a personal finance question. It becomes a structural one. An entire generation raised on save your money advice, formed in an era of very different interest rates, is now navigating a world where that advice quietly erodes their future instead of protecting it. Pensions have largely disappeared. Social Security alone isn't designed to fully fund anyone's retirement. The responsibility for building long-term wealth has shifted almost entirely onto the individual, and most individuals were never taught the tools to do it. Banks benefit when you keep your money parked in low-yield accounts. They lend it out at higher rates than they pay you, and the spread is their profit. Your caution is, quite literally, someone else's business model. This isn't a conspiracy. Nobody's plotting against you personally. It's just an incentive structure, one where the party who explains investing to you often isn't the party who profits from you not doing it. And the less you understand about where your money should actually live, the longer that structure keeps working exactly as designed. So go back to those two friends from the beginning. Same income. Same years. Same effort. A $540,000 difference, created entirely by where the money was allowed to grow, not by how hard either of them worked. That gap wasn't about intelligence. It wasn't about